moves slow, time moves fast. In this dance we call the past. Mental health, a fragile thread, but we'll find strength. Let love spread. Life's a climb, just take a step. Rise above, find your breath. In the darkness we will find a shining light to free our mind, to free our mind. Self-growth blooms like petals bloom, shedding tears will heal the wounds and the chaos. Let's find peace, embrace the pain, let it release.
Relax your mind. It's divine time.
What's up? What's up? What's up? This is your boy Donnelly Divine. I am here with another episode of Speak Your Truth, where I have multiple survivors come through, tell their stories. Hopefully, the stories that they tell can reach somebody, let them know that, hey, anything you're going through, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You're never in this alone. There's always somebody who's gone through something similar before. So just don't give up. Today, I am sitting with this wonderful lady. I'm going to call her Sin, and I'll let her go ahead and introduce herself and tell you a little bit about her.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here. So my name is I go by Sin, but I have an Instagram which I kind of moonlight on there because we got to protect our identities and not everything is safe outside of family and friends. But you can reach me at synthesized lust all together. And Danley, you got a page for everything, correct? So we can put all that up there. I didn't know
Yeah,
if you
so
need me to
it's gonna
spell it.
be
Yeah,
yeah, it's gonna be all up in here in the show details, the show notes.
gotcha. So you guys feel free to follow me there. I have been taking a little bit of a hiatus, and that is partly kind of to the story that we're going to be telling today. So, um, and I'm slowly but surely getting back into social media and everything because it's just a burnout. But yeah, I am on IG as a synthesized lust, and that is my kink, also my just out poly lifestyle. I do have a regular page that will remain unnamed, but I do have a regular page, which I did step out in my truth for. So my parents know. And when I say parent, I should say my mother. I feel like my father really wouldn't care, but um, even the children have an idea. We can get into that too. And yeah, friends and some selective coworkers. So I am living in my truth. But some of the other stuff, your parents don't need to know that, you enjoy being choked. Like it's okay. We can leave that for that other page.
Definitely gonna leave that
So,
one for the other page.
hello. It's like I pray over you every night and here you go.
Hey, we all like different things.
That part right there.
Zaddy. Like, stop.
And that was never a thing for me. Like if I know my partner likes it, I will
Mhm.
probably bring that out the blue just, for some shock value. But nah, I was never a daddy person. Like, no, if I say daddy, that's my real father. Like,
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. I'm like, look, don't call me dad, daddy, or anything like that. I'm like, I have kids. I was like, you're gonna just kill the whole mood right then and there. All right.
So,
So with it, for this session, I'm just going to be jotting down my questions so that way I don't interrupt you during your story. So once you're
mhm.
done with your story, then I'm going to ask you questions pertaining to your story. So
Okay, so
I try to allow the person to speak, and then we can have a discussion after.
and see, I was very ready for some like organic questions because it's like, where do you want me to go?
I mean, tell your story, and then we'll talk after that. We can chop it up after that. But ultimately, I just want you to share
Okay.
what you're comfortable with sharing.
So I came into a polyam group for people of color, and I was invited by my husband who was talking to a, you know, a former colleague, associate, we shall say. And it was our first kind of outing. I have been poly since 2019, but not really truly living in the truth until like 2020.
Okay.
So, and from there, um, met a gentleman. We shall call him, and I hate it that I called him that, but we shall call him Kamali. Names have
Okay.
been removed, but if it ever comes out, he knows I'm talking about him. Um, so Kamali was at this mixer. It was immediate sparks flew. Um, I really didn't take the time. And in retrospect, I wish I would have kind of vetted a little bit more and took it a
Mhm.
little more slow. But this would have been my first relationship in which, you know, all parties knew. It's like here's a guy that, if my husband wanted to go get beers with him, he can. Y'all can talk about guy stuff, whatever. And it just so happens, you are sharing a mutual love for the same woman. Like it was all checks were crossed on that. So, um, and at the time he did live in my area. So it was immediately after that mixer, which was around Halloween of, oh, I guess in this case it would be 2021, we want to say. When was that?
Yeah,
Yeah, about 2021. Yeah. Um, you know, talking consistently through um chat, phone, um it didn't really take long before it actually became physical and everything was sunshine, butterfly, rainbows. I guess the first flag I can say I honestly got was he was like, before it even got to the whole physicalities part, he was like, I have a partner and I have two littles. If no one knows what a little is in the BDSM, a little is like a little girl. So he had two that he was kind of playing daddy dom type, caretaker type. At least that's what has been told. Um, yeah,
littles are not children, right?
they are not children, but they are childlike. So you do treat them as, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you treat them as, but I have never now. Do some people play in that aspect of it? Unfortunately, it can get a little dark from there, but yes, they do. But to my knowledge, it was never. Yeah, because I called him out on that one too. I'm like, "So, are you?" And of course, he was like, "No, you don't fuck a little." But like, no, I don't do that. I was like, "Okay." I just like we clearing that up. Cool. So, yes. but there is a intimate relationship as far as, you have someone that you can revert to a childlike state with, and that, the daddy is your protector. So that was
Okay.
kind of what was going on. He did disclose this, and unbeknownst to me, I didn't know it was other two people in this group.
Mm,
So there was, I guess we can call it pink flag number one. I did eventually, and I was like, well, you told me, so sure, I'll go with it. But I didn't really dive deep until I realized it was folks in the group and that there was promises being made. Fast forward, me, my husband, Kamali, and the two littles, which we will name them A and B. I made a group for all of us off to the side, like, so we can be our honest selves.
hmm
Because, the whole thing is transparency. And this was after we kind of already had our first intimate encounter, and we were already talking off to the side, unbeknownst that we all were engaging with the same person.
mm,
So when it was let out that it all was happening, little A was like, okay, cool, we're good. I mean, she is a phenomenal person. Like, if I wanted you to hook up with somebody and, be with someone, I would have said, yeah, that's quality right there. I like where she's coming from.
okay.
Little B, she had so much self growth that needed to happen, because she was looking at me like, oh, she has the better job, she has the husband, she has the house, she has all of these things. And I was like, girlfriend, I had to work for that. Okay, none of that stuff came overnight. All right,
Yeah.
and if you want better, you can get better. And it doesn't help that you're living somewhere that it's it's situated to keep you at poverty level from where you're living. So if you want better, you sometimes got to come out of your comfort zone to get that.
Facts on
So
facts.
so, but she kind of let all that be silent. This is of course stuff that I drug out of her after having numerous conversations, because, I um have the right to do. You don't have to have it where everybody knows your relationship. Like, they know of you as long as you're being safe, and if you're fluid swapping, as long as you're being safe and consistently testing. Like,
hmm
if you don't have to talk to me and I don't have to talk to you. But I'm not wired like that. I think everybody should be able, like, oh, let's have a whole meal together. And like, I feel like that's more, I like the kumbaya of it. And the closeness and the friendship that can come out of it. So I mean, I'm a different breed, but she saw me as the op, so what could I do? um so going back, we great communication, great everything, but it was still a very much a facade, because he was very much a narcissist, in that he kind of set up his relationships like a tiny kingdoms, if you will, where he wanted his cake and he wanted to eat it too, but then at the same time he wanted to smash it on the floor and then walk away, but then come back to it. I Everything that I proposed to him, the words were turned back around. It was me being, not compliant, or just causing a bigger issue, because he wanted more just like blind faith and, just let's just trust the love, let's just trust all of this.
Yeah.
Well, I don't do that. So backing up a little bit more, we're coming around Christmas time, and I went back over to his house, and I knew about his partner that he had, but then his partner started acting real weird, so he kinda let her go. And mind you, his partner at the time was also, or his partner is also married. So I went over to his house. I was thinking I was going to spend the night, whatever. And she comes rolling up in this truck. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, all right. She asked, "Oh, do you live here too?" And I was like, "No." So she came to the door and she was already unstable too. So that partner was very much didn't really do anything. Like she was married on paper, but she was all about Kamali. He just buying stuff from him for him, giving him money. Oh, you need to be able to use my car. You could use my car. Just, you know, all these
Mm-hmm.
luxuries that females were given to him, and you just using, abusing, and not really telling the whole entire truth. And when he told the truth about me and her, she just didn't wanna believe that either. It's like, "Oh, you just wanna use her for sex. You don't really love her." And he was like, "No, actually, I do." And needless to say, because of how volatile and her anxiety was, as immediately when she pulled up, even though, like, I outweighed her, I did all of that. Like, I would have been able to hold my own, but it's like, what do I look like, you know, if something really were to pop off, and what would the news be like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, 2 married women, oh, fighting over their boyfriend. Like, I didn't wanna be sensationalized like that. I don't wanna bring attention to the lifestyle, like that. I just
In a negative way.
very much so. And, he was like, "It wouldn't have been you dead on the ground. It would have been me, blah, blah, blah. You don't think I would have protected you, or you didn't give me a chance to rectify the situation. You just kinda went with your husband." Okay, red flag right there. I'm in a hierarchical polyamory.
Okay.
So my husband will always come first. I'm not leaving my husband. I do love my husband dearly, and we have a family together. So for whatever, and I just say that not to say that you don't mean any more or any less, but if I had to sit there and do risk analysis, or it's like, you know, "Oh, can you come over tonight?" Or "Is my husband in the hospital?" Or, and those are extreme, but it's going to be my husband first.
Mm-hmm.
And, you have to be able to work around that or work with me on that. So, and if that's too much, there you go. But this is what you signed up for. He started waning on that too, because he was like, "No, I always wanted, it always should be about your husband and whatnot. But then you always wanted more time." Now, mind you, he has kids and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Not once in our relationship did I see him with his kids at at any time that we were together. Like,
Mm-hmm.
his kids never came over, never heard him talk about his kids, talk to his kids on the phone. Yeah, just it was just never there. So, um, I try to be friendly with everybody involved. Little A decided, "You know what? I'm out. I think I'm not ready quite for this," or she smelt the bullshit to come. I can honestly say, I think her being so far removed from the situation, i.e., she's never met him in person. And even when she did come to Atlanta, what was
Mm-hmm.
funny is because she came down and her and my husband were dating,
Mm-hmm.
came down, and all of a sudden, Mr. Man was like, "Well, are you gonna come this way?" And whoop de whoop de whoop. She was like, "No, if you can't make it out here, and plus, I'm already on a date. I'm having a good time." Like, my husband was treating her right. Absolutely. I was, yeah,
Tell
yeah,
him I said thank you.
yeah, absolutely. And of course, well, he swapped tails, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so glad to see you." So he was like, "She's here," and showed me, like, on video and everything, and I was like, "OMG, like, you are there. You are so gorgeous." Like, I'm so happy. I'm glad you're having a good time. Woo, woo. So it wasn't anything bad like that, but how Kamali kept creeping in and making it seem like, "Oh, well, we just need to come and talk and blah, blah, blah." She was like, "No, pump your brakes. Again, I'm on a date. I'm not focused on you right now. So,
Mhm.
give me my time."
Yeah.
Um, of course, he didn't like all that. And then after it was all said and done, because the agreement that was unbeknownst to me until later on down the line was that her, him, and little B were all supposed to be this thruple. So, and they were gonna move out your way, actually. Move out your way, and, supposedly, little B was gonna be taking care of, or excuse me, little A was gonna be
Hmm.
taking care of all the bills, and
Oh,
and, yeah, just and like, how y'all gonna do a thruple is for if folks that don't know, thruple is polyamory on hard mode. That is on professional mode. Those
yeah.
those and triads never really,
Can't say never.
not never. I can't say never, but again, that is polyamory on professional mode. I no. No. Has it worked? It has,
Mhm.
but there has to be some very good understanding and very good emotional intelligence and self-awareness on all parties. I
Mhm.
think it sounded good, it looked good on paper, but I don't think they really knew. And plus I feel like he was very opportunistic. Like, okay, I'm gonna have
Yeah,
two
he
females
was.
just taking care of me, and then, all I gotta do is sling some peen, and then it's all good. So, um, after that kind of dispersed, he was still talking with little B, and it was me. And let's fast forward a little bit, later towards the relationship. Like, there was already my mom had to have surgery around April
Mhm.
of last year. And there was this concert that I wanted to go to for my favorite band. I couldn't make it, so I gave him the tickets. And funny enough, I was like, how was this supposed to work? Because she was supposed to come into town that same time we were supposed to go to the concert. So I was like, you were gonna leave her at the house? If I never went, you were just gonna leave her at the house and we go to the concert and then you come back? Like, that's how we do? And
Mm.
never say hi to each other? Because no. And so funny enough, he got my VIP ticket. He went. That was his first concert ever, and she had the his original ticket, which I mean, yeah, I'm still bitter about that because they're not coming back. But she was in town for like at least a week or two, and I really didn't like contact him for that particular time frame. And but after that, that's when stuff kind of began to fall apart as far as, he wasn't as sweet as he used to be. It was very bait and switchy. Um, the nail in the coffin was we were in the park just chilling, and then he, his ex baby mama, well, it's not even his ex, well, yeah, his baby mother that had twins, um, she moved to South Carolina for him because he was talking about, he was about to lose his place to stay, blah blah blah, come move out. And he liked to do that whole, but I never asked you to, but he'll pose it in a way that technically you did. Like, we
Hmm.
all know, like, what was the point? Like, she could have moved anywhere, but she moved here. So if why would I have moved here if it wasn't for you? But yeah, I never asked you to. But if you say someone's down for you and they're gonna, make things happen,
Hmm.
of course it's for you. So we were in the park just, on our Erica Badu shit, just candles. It wasn't
Aw.
even night, like just candles, like
Yeah.
veggies, just like vibing. She came up and he was like, "Oh my god, it's my ex." I was like, because she had like a tracker in the car, and I've been in her
Well,
car and her
damn.
truck numerous times, and I was like, "So where did you get these vehicles?" Because his vehicle has, ever since the kickback, his vehicle, I think a few months later, died. So that man wasn't even rolling like that, okay?
Hmm.
And he was like, "Oh, this is just my homegirls." Okay, right. I had to sit up for this one. So she comes up and she was like, "Who is this bitch?" Blah blah blah. And rightfully so, I didn't cause a scene or any drama. I was like,
Hmm.
okay, because it wasn't me. I
Yeah.
knew I was like, it was literally like when you press start and somebody is playing Street Fighter and it's like, here comes a new challenger. That was exactly what kind of went down. I was
I
like,
had a situation like that before. I know what you mean.
where did this who is she and whatnot? And then when we got to comparing notes, now keep in mind, like if I ride for you, I ride for you.
Hmm.
If I care for you, I care for you. If I got it, you got it. So I stayed giving this man like money, presents, all of this stuff, and he would return. Probably not in the same quantity and fashion, but he was very much um like, I don't wanna say an escape, but it was an escape just from the everyday ho-hum, and made me feel better. He renewed batteries, right?
Hmm.
So, it was very much I feel a little bit of a codependency on that one, though I could recognize signs, whereas he probably couldn't. Um, Going back to that day in the park after we
Yeah.
did notes and everything, she had him get on the phone with little B and be like, "Did you know that she has XYZ? Like, oh, you want to sit there and marry her, but yet you sitting up here living with me? Are you ready?" Talking to little B, "Are you ready to go ahead and support him? Like, can he
Yeah.
move in with you right now?" Like, and of course, she couldn't say nothing because she was in her little apartment in New York and don't have shit going for her about shit. So, um, no. She was just silent and he was sitting there just a blubbering idiot. Just, "Can you stop? You're giving me anxiety. My anxiety this, my anxiety that."
Seriously.
And it's like it's the accountability factor. You got caught, my nigga. You did not disclose. It was polyfuckery at the highest order, but Um, and I told her everything, like, we linked up and everything, and we were like, "Oh, wow, so he been sending." She was like, "Yeah, he has a whole account with her, and any money you've been giving or that I've been giving, I'm sure he's been moving over. Like, I don't pay for nothing. So if he's coming to you talking about that broke stuff, he's not."
Damn.
So, but living in her house, all of that stuff, um, he would raise his voice at her. It was literally night and day. And then when it was all said and done, when she put him out, um, he was over there asking me for Ubers and all of that. I was like, "No, I need my money back." Because at that point, I think I gave him like 200 something dollars, something silly, like it's big enough, but silly enough. Like, you could lose 200 just any old place. So I'm not tripping at this point. I was able to make peace with it. But of course, he blocked me on Cash App
Mm.
and just blocked me all across the board, like, don't reach out to me or talk to me again. When I had my moment of weakness and reached out to him one more time, he was like, "After you nuked my whole life and did XYZ to me. I can't, like, why would you even reach out to me? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I didn't do anything to you. Like, you were the one that was kind of living in the wrong. And I just had a moment of weakness and I was remembering you about something. And I was just like, I hope after it all kind of made a head and kind of died down. Like, this was like probably like a month or two after I
Hmm.
just reached out and I was like, okay, let me just go ahead and reblock your ass, cause and never looked back. And now, do I think of him from time to time? I do. And I try to I don't try. I am moving a lot slowly, but it seems like I'm trying not to have this whole feeling of um, it's never going to happen again. But it kind of feels like that because, even my husband asks, it's like, is there anybody you're dating? Anybody you're interested in? And I'm like, men suck. Men suck right now. He's like, I know, but they're out there. Just don't give up hope. I'm like, I understand, but yeah, that was a whirlwind of stuff. So it was his partner. Now, another tea about his partner sat there and attempted suicide multiple times, trying to
Mm.
get his attention. Red flag there. The way he was treating little B, which, I was trying to be kumbaya friendly, let's all come together.
Hmm.
And she was just again nervous and felt less than it around me, and I'm like, okay, like, I can give you tips about that, but I can't really solve that. That's self work at that point. Like, we can come together or whatever. And then came his original, well, one of his baby mamas, which, I mean, they're no longer earthbound, so, but she has history and she knew about him before any of us, that she was still in his life and unknown to anybody. Like, the only
Oh,
people I knew
damn.
was his partner and little A and little B. That's all I knew. And then I was like, all these bodies and shit just falling out the sky, all these bones. It's like, where's the graveyard? Because I don't got enough buckets to catch all of this shit. Like, and and what's funny is that he tried to turn around and say that when he did tell me who she was, tried to tell me like, oh, her brother said he saw you somewhere with such and such guy. Can you explain that? I'm like, no. If I go out, I'm going out with you. And you can even ask Chris, like, I have nothing to hide. Like,
Hmm.
why are you worried about what? No. And he was like, okay, are you sure? Are you sure? I'm like, I'm not the one living in the wrong right now, but yeah, I'm sure. But he would have you thinking that kind of stuff. So, and not to mention sometimes when, if he didn't agree with something that I did, he would go and call my husband and be like, hey, let's meet at the bar. And my husband is straight crookling. He don't care.
Hmm.
And it's like, well, no, if she says this, I'm gonna believe her until she gives me a reason not to. Like, it's like,
Yeah,
well,
me and your
I don't
husband gotta
know.
link up.
Like, no, it's like, I married her, I trust her, and if she does, she does. If she doesn't, she doesn't. Like, it was
Hmm.
somebody that I know from Discord that was coming into town, and I didn't know if I was gonna sleep with him or not. Because we be engaging in spicy chat. So I was like, I might, but see, he didn't like that. He was like, see, I know people could take advantage of you. Whoop de whoop de whoop. You mean like how you do? Because it's really easy to like turn on the engine and let's just go. Now,
Hmm.
granted, I will like consent to it and everything, but it doesn't take much to be like, oh, this is what you want. Oh, okay, let me just like it really don't take much. Um, so now you all worried. He was like, "Yeah, I could have did XYZ to that person." I'm like, "You wouldn't have done shit." So, um, but I found that he was trying to like get my husband on his side or to see his side of the story when it comes to that. And he was like, I really didn't have any choice about when I get to spend time and everything. Now, granted, when we first was doing this
Mm-hmm.
and it was all new and it was like new relationship energy, all of that,
The NRE.
when we were there, oh baby, you couldn't tell me you could the way I was acting, it was like I didn't even have a family. I had to get reeled back in. And it's like, and then I had to sit there and be like, okay, we're gonna have to reevaluate some stuff because I gotta still be here for my kids. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm very much a prominent force in their life. Whereas for him, and I tried to bring it up and everything, and so did baby mama. She tried to bring it up too. Like, let's go talk, let's go get some stuff for your daughter. Let's go do some stuff for your son. Now your son actually lives here. Um, let's do this, let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. So, and that's another one too. Like if you're, folks out there, if you're going to be dating somebody that has children, make sure they're involved because that's a big red flag right there. And I do know some men will take care of themselves and make sure they're straight before they make sure anything else is straight. I mean, they're wired differently. What can I say? I'm not saying that that is everybody, but no, I can say a good majority. Let me make sure my boo boos are tended to before whomever.
Self-aid
Um,
buddy aid.
hmm.
Self-aid then buddy aid.
So, um, he never did. I never met his kid. The only person I met, I actually met his mother, which I don't even know if she's still earthbound, but she has MS.
Mm.
And it seemed like he came from a lot of hurt and pain, and no one really giving him that emotional support that he possibly needed and showing him how to move. So the stuff's just toxic and it's really a sad state of affairs. And it was really, that's when I had my K Michelle moment. It's like you can't raise a man. You really can't.
Mm.
You can't. And I was thinking, oh, I'll save him with this and no. I will save him with my love. Baby, nah,
Not that simple.
it isn't. So, um, I guess for me, because it took me a minute to kind of even get to this point where I can like talk about it. Now, this is very much the abridged version of a lot of items. So there's some stuff I completely left out.
Mm.
But it's all the same culmination. Um, Reflecting back on it, I think if I took a little time, even if I did take the time, like I could have saved myself a whole bunch of heartache. But at the same time, even with the time taken, I don't think it would have changed the situation because it was very almost don't ask, don't tell.
Mm.
Or if I do that, the version of the truth would be just that, a version of it. It wouldn't be the absolute, like, can I make my own decisions about this?
Yeah.
It would be, oh, well, I got really anxious. So I'm sorry I didn't do all of this, that, and the third because I was thinking. And I was like, that's the problem. You were thinking and you were thinking about you. You weren't thinking about, well, let me just say it and give her an opportunity. Like, let me make sure I can spin the narrative that will go in my favor. That's what you were
Yeah.
thinking.
That. Yeah. So I got a few questions based on your story.
Yeah.
Um. So one, how important would you say vetting is?
Highly. Oh my God. Please vet. That has to be number one. As much as you want to get to the intimate details, if you even if you get to that, because
Mhm.
not all relationships are intimate in that way.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think you could be your own worst enemy for just that those carnal desires, and you overlook a lot of things. So just know, rub one out and you're good. But
Wow.
I mean, it's true. It's true. And before I go make a really harsh or irrational decision, is something that I really want to do, or is it I'm just horny? In this case, I very much loved him. I very much cared. It was just one of those whirlwind passion types, and we just hit it off. And
Mhm.
could there have been more? Sure. Though I don't know if that more would have been built more so on sand than concrete, because it
Okay.
was it was very much shifty stuff. So vetting is so important. Um, looks aren't everything. Looks aren't
Bless you.
everything. Thank you.
I thought you laughed at first. I was like, what the fudge?
No.
Looks ain't everything. So with it, this is 2023.
Mhm.
Polyamory, like I talked about it on the Black Poly Hot Seat podcast back when that was up. I was like, when Willow Smith came out and said she was polyamorous, I had told Prana, yeah, her name was Prana. I had told Prana at that time, I was like, look, I was like, poly's about to go trending. I was like, and it's going to turn. I was like, it's going to turn into a trend. I was like, and it's gonna just have all the wrong name because people are going to be doing it, using it, and saying that they're poly when they really aren't, or they're just going to be triamorous, or they're going to be in there doing the wrong things, trying not even knowing what poly really is, and calling it poly.
Yep.
Now, where I'm going with that is with a lot of people now saying that they're poly and or in the ethically non-monogamous lifestyle, they might not even know what vetting is. What
Mhm.
can you explain what vetting is?
Like, to me, or just like the book term? Because
If you can
here's
give both if you want.
so for me, vetting is going to be, let's put up these are my yeses, these are my yes or maybes, these are my absolute nos.
Hmm.
Are you compatible with this person? Can you hold conversation? It's the same thing that you would honestly do if you were just dating and you were mono dating. It's the exact same thing. You don't just rush off and say, "Oh, we're a couple." No, okay. What's your favorite color? Which that shit gets so boring and so
Yeah.
repetitive. Like, I am so over that. Like, can I just find my one, please? And then I'm done. Um, you know, where what are your goals and aspirations? Do they align with what you want to do? Are you here for a good time or a long time? Just some of those hard hitting questions now. Now, by all means, you doing all of this vetting does not equate that they won't change the game on you later. It really
Hmm.
doesn't. Um,
They could be
and we would
saying what it is that you want to hear.
exactly, and you know, uh, it is what it is on that one,
It
and
is.
there's really no escaping it. It happens,
At least
but
you know you did your part.
and you did that in full clarity and light of day.
Mm,
So even if you have to sit there and screenshot or screen record the whole conversation,
yep.
which it's sad that you even have to do that, because I'm fortunate for Kamali. I did do that for a lot of our stuff because it got
Mm.
to a point where it's like, well, am I saying this wrong? Did I say
Okay,
it?
see, you're touching into one of the questions I was going to ask because I recently had a situation with a narcissistic couple.
Mhm.
But I'll eventually end up telling my story. I'm I'm gonna tell my story, and it's gonna be the first one that I drops because I rather lead by example. So I'll tell my story, and then I'll end up putting other people's stories up after that. I'll be the first
Mhm.
story that's told. But with it, again, going back to the poly being trending thing, do you think that there are a lot of narcissists getting in this lifestyle?
Mhm. Narcissists and unicorn hunters.
That part, yeah.
Um, it's like it's very much polyamory because it's trending is equating to like harem building or um I'm just in it for the sex. I'm like,
Yeah,
and let's be
that's
let's
annoying.
be quite clear. You have swinging and then you have polyamory.
They're
Some
not
people
the
will sit there
same.
and say, yeah, some people sit there and be like, swinging it can't be like polyamory. I'm like, you could be both, but I do think they're mutually exclusive.
Hmm.
Um, I don't feel like there's any feeling behind it. Yes, you're going to for behind it meaning swinging. You can go into it and have your partners and make sure you're caring for them in the fact of, okay, are you allergic to this condom? Are you okay with this being performed?
Yeah,
Yes, but after that, after it's like a smash and grab. After that, you done. Now, as far as polyamory, it's like there could be more soul care, and it does not necessarily have to be a sexual relationship. Some people
facts
will
on
sit there.
facts.
Some people will sit there and be like, as long, they feel like you're cheating because it's feelings involved. You might have
Hmm.
never even touched that person, or you might have just kissed
Yep,
that person.
and that's
But
honestly where I'm at now.
uh-huh. Um, and all of a sudden the trust is broken. So um I would say polyamory has much more soul care to it. And you can, if you
Hmm.
had to simplify it, I would say it would be just like mono dating. And you continue to grow with that person, and they might be there for a season, they might be there for a lifetime. You don't know. And yeah, again, just a lot more soul care and more development of the person. So the person that I meet when we first began this relationship, you know, and I'll say it for my husband, which we his nickname is Big Boy. So for
Okay.
Big Boy, it would be okay. I met you at Big Boy 2.0. By the time we get here, I you should be on upgrade package like Big Boy 5.24. There's levels to it.
There's levels to this.
Yeah, and, where you first started is not necessarily unless you want to stay kinda stagnant like that, but I'm not a stagnant person, like, how I met you should not be, who you are 3 months, 6 months down the line. Now, at the same time, you shouldn't be, um how do I wanna put it? Like, we shouldn't be flipping scripts like you just put on a whole new mask and this I don't know who this person is either.
Yeah.
So and some people are not ready to do the soul work, and that's the other part as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Another question I had was you mentioned the hierarchy, Polly.
Mhm.
So with that, I know what that means. You want to describe that for the listeners?
So hierarchy or hierarchical polyamory is, there's levels to this shit. So literally it will be maybe your primary or your nesting partner, aka whoever you're living with. Now, I will
Hmm.
say on the sidebar, your primary partner does not necessarily have to be your nesting partner. Your nesting partner does not necessarily have to be your primary, but
Hmm.
you got your primary, you got your secondary, tertiary, third,
Yeah.
and that's kind of how it goes. Now, with that being said, and I know, we're probably gonna have to go draw a graph for this one, Donley,
I have a feeling I'm probably gonna have you on another episode.
so,
Yeah.
well, when it comes to that hierarchical polyamory,
Hmm.
it is very much my husband's comes first. Big Boy is going to come first.
Yeah.
Now, as far as feelings, I like I don't want to say I love the same. If I love you, I love you. That
Hmm.
that's it.
Yes.
I don't love you any more. I don't love you any less. That's just it. Um, if I'm spending time with you, I'm there with you. Like I'm present with you. And I think that's where a lot of people have a hard time with it, or they, in this case, Kamali probably had the hardest time with it because he was like, I think he wanted the discord now that I'm thinking about it because his favorite animal was a lion and mine was a bear. And I had this dream one day that I was just like laying in bed between both of them. And that was what it was. Big boy was the bear, he was the lion. And he actually said, and I quote, when do bears and lions get along? And I'm like, ooh, that was another flag right there. But see, we could have made it happen. We have been making it happen
Hmm.
until you kind of
Switched up.
switched up and didn't really he claimed he respected the hierarchical, but he really didn't.
Hmm.
And it's like all things, if you want to make it work, require planning, but I don't think he was looking at my situation because again, this was still very much infantry. This was like, have I dated? Absolutely.
Hmm.
But this was my first, okay, no, we together. We boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you want to call it. We're lovers. Like I didn't even like the whole titles on that. Um, but if you had to introduce me, I mean, yeah, I'm okay with girlfriend. I'm okay with lover. I'm okay with all of that. We're
Hmm.
fine. But I never once was like, you know, oh yeah, I'm married and I have a boyfriend. Like if someone asked me, "Oh, are you married?" Absolutely, I would tell you. Like the ring don't mean shit.
I feel you there. I feel
So,
you there.
um, yeah, so my family and those in my family are going to come first, and then as we schedule time and we make those commitments to each other, you will be my universe at that particular point in time. And then when our engagement's over, I'm going back to this. But it's very fluid.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think people show all their cards on the table when they should, and that would stop a lot of it if they did.
Yeah. I feel like when it comes down to polyamorous, like you have to be open, upfront, and honest. And I
Mhm.
mean, there isn't any room for secrecy because I mean, I think one of the biggest things when it comes to true polyamory is nobody wants to be looking stupid.
That
And
at
that
all.
was one of my issues is I've always been an upfront, honest individual. So it's like I would tell you everything, and a lot of girls run from it because it's like I have no mystery. I'm like, why do you want mystery? That leads to toxicity. Like I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, okay, cool. That at the time I was overlooking that, but looking at that now, someone's just like, oh, like you don't really have very much mystery. I'm just like, yeah, that's kind of a red flag because that's telling me that you want someone who is going to be doing a bunch of things behind your back, and then when you find out, you're going to flip the fuck out. But
Yeah,
excuse my
not
language
here.
there. Yeah.
No. But it's true. Like they will flip the fuck out. Like when baby mama put that story that her brother saw me somewhere and was like, "Oh, I did XYZ with her," and he gonna come back and be like, "Well, did you do that? Are you sure you did do that?" I'm like, "Nigga, what? Y- if it wasn't spent time with you, then I was with Chris. If I wasn't with Chris, and I just did that. If I wasn't with Chris, which you don't know which Chris that is, so it doesn't matter. You're not gonna see my face. If I'm not with Chris, then I'm with my children. If I'm not with my children or with Chris, I'm at work. Like, don't. I'm too old and I got too much going on
Mhm.
to have to do all that. There's just like no. I mean, people do it. We have seen it. A whole ass
Yes.
cheating, whole ass families
Oh
on the
yeah.
side, and you've been
Girl.
in front of them the whole time, but not here, partner. No. Not here.
So with it, you called him a narcissist. Like, what was he doing that gave off that energy? You mentioned a few things, but I'm like, for those who probably have not gone through situations like that, might not recognize what certain things were that you had mentioned. So, like, what type of things was he doing that was giving off that energy? Because
It
we
was,
can't diagnose him, but we can definitely mention the behaviors.
yeah, very much. I am very much love bomb. He did everything for me, made me feel all nice and warm, got addicted to the feeling. Then he started taking that away where I'm like, well, wait a minute, you used to do all of this. Like, let me do a little bit
Hmm.
more. Let me do a little bit more, trying to get that attention. And then next thing you know, you are being served scraps and doing stuff at a king's ransom for just the scraps of attention. Um, and I remember one time where we were having a real big debate and I kind of called him out on his shit.
Mm,
And he was sitting there like, um, okay, or giving me one worded answers, not even giving me my pet name, like, none of that. Then out of the blue, he was like, I love you, gave me my pet name, can you cash at me $20? Wait, what? Y you we were having this whole blown out conversation. You were giving me one-worded answers, very cold, very distant, and then now it just seems like you want me for my money and opportunity
hmm
and doing stuff I like. Like, when it was really at the end, that nigga let me wash his hair because I asked him at the beginning, I was like, "Oh, I used to have locks." Yeah, I used to have locks. Like, I know what to do, woo doo woo woo, because he used to go over with another person, and we can might as well go ahead and call her C.
Dang, there was
And
more.
yeah, there was more. Um, she would do his hair, and he did disclose her and everything, but
Hmm.
yeah, um, do his hair and everything. And I was like, "Well, why don't you let me watch?" He's like, "Oh, that's reserved for a certain like person." And I was just like, "Okay, I guess." I mean, and I get it. You don't want everybody in your hair. I get that.
Yeah.
But funny enough, he was offering that shit up like gravy at Thanksgiving when it was getting towards that whole, no, I don't want sex from you. I don't want, like, we were laying in the bed completely nude, okay?
Hmm.
And yeah, I was raring to go, but I held restraint because I knew if it happened, then he would have took that as, okay, we're okay. And I'm like,
Hmm.
but we're not. Um, one of my things was, we bathed together and he was like, yeah, you're gonna wash my hair. We almost are at 8, 9 months now, and you're just letting me wash your hair. Okay.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
nah, see, my relationship with the narcissist only lasted 3 months. She started love bombing me 2 weeks in.
Mm,
Yeah, there's so much more happened, and the crazy thing was I didn't really know my intuition at that time, so I wasn't listening to all the stuff that was my intuition was saying me. I mean, it even got so bad to a point where her husband had molested my partner. And later
mhm.
on, we found out he also molested her mom. Um, but at the time when he molested her, we were speaking about it because my partner was molested as a child before. And so she froze up. So then both of them ganged up on me, trying to say that didn't happen. I'm making stuff up. If she had a problem with it, then she would be saying something. And so that's when the whole trying to shift my reality, the major gaslighting was going on. But it's wild. It's wild. Would you say that one big thing when it comes down to narcissists is their lack of accountability?
Um, yeah, yeah. Like, or it would be the half sorries. It's like you will point out, why are you asking, an example is like, why are you asking this person to come over to cuddle with you when I'm right here? It's like, I didn't do that. but here it is on the phone. You did do that.
Mhm.
That narcissist will straight take the phone, delete the message, and be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh wow.
Straight gaslight. That was very much what he would do. And then when I put my foot down that we're not going to be a couple anymore, um, he was like, "What can I do?" It was very much like the 7 stages. He's like, "Well, what can I
Stages
do?
of
What can I
grief.
what can I do? Can I do?" I was like, "There's nothing you can do. Like, you need help. You need therapy,
Yep.
and I'm
Yep.
not the one to go, you're not going to find any comfort laying up underneath me and being with me, and you're not going to rob me of my energy anymore." So then it was like just emptiness, darkness. You're just gonna leave me hanging out there. Like, I can't believe you're just gonna throw it all away. Very quickly did it go from, what can I do? Please, baby, come back, to you. So you're just gonna let this go? Because they're always going to leave the door open. The narcissist is always going to leave the door open. They're never gonna close it.
Or they're gonna try and find a way to pull you back in, which is leaving the door open. Mine went so far as into I wouldn't get in contact with her, so she tried to put a restraining order on me, trying to accuse me of everything that come to find out they were doing. I had no idea they were stalking me until went into court and then saw all their evidence. I was like, y'all have been blocked on all my social media, so y'all are making other social medias to try and get access to my shit. Okay, cool. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, y'all been reaching out. I was like, y'all been trying to reach out to my family. Okay, cool. Like, I'm like, yo. Then to top it all off, they end up molesting like two other families out in that area. So those two other families end up writing their statement. Everything backfired on them, and everything came through. They just wanted to try and get close to us, and it was wild. I mean, it was so bad that I didn't even go into the courtroom. I just stayed on the Zoom and was like, I'm not dealing with this. Like, I'm not giving you no energy. They even lied and said that they sat in on one of my mental health appointments where I got diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder, borderline personality disorder, and PTSD. Check
Mhm,
this out. I was like, dang, I had to submit my medical record because I'm only diagnosed with PTSD and depression.
mhm,
So that also showed their lie, but also in that lie, they end up saying that they broke it off with me, and then I became started getting aggressive, and I tried to force them to become polyamorous. But yeah, crazy. That was them trying to fight the CID case, and then in court they went and started creating a whole bunch of other lies and lying on some of my friends. So my friends had to write statements like, "We've never fucking talked to them. Like, what the hell?" Like, and then their story changed again. I'm just like, y'all are just so sad. Like, for real. I was like, yeah, I'm staying out the lifestyle. I was like, I'm just not doing anything for a while. And it got so bad. Like, this woman raped me one day when I was unconscious from alcohol. Pretty sure I got roofied. And then she had the nerve to try and put a love spell on me. But then after me and my partner told the base police what ended up happening, she damn near put a hex on me, which I'm doing a removal for that shit now. But it's been wild. I'm gonna have to go through that whole story, but it's been
mm.
crazy. But anyway, what? I don't even think you want. I'm just gonna scratch that question off. Fuck
I
that.
mean, you can. Well, yeah, I'm
Nah,
open.
nah. It was okay. The question was, what were the good times?
Oh, so
Yeah,
the good times, um, I got them started on synthwave. Now, considering that, and synthwave is very much it's a form of electronic music, and it's
Mhm.
very nostalgic of 80s. So think of your 80s, early 90s video games. It kind of
Yeah,
has that kind of feeling. Or even for some of the vocal production and the music production, that being like, reminiscent of, old school Madonna, Michael Jackson,
mhm.
your dance poppy type items. Yeah.
That's puppy.
So I got him the people that I went to go see, the band's called The Midnight. Love them.
Okay.
Um, got him hooked on that type of music, and it just spoke to him, and so that was something that was very nice that we could share. um I do think he was very selfless, but in his selflessness, he lost his self. I'm gonna break
Mm-hmm.
that one down. It's like you can never give so much of yourself
Mm-hmm.
that you lose your own within the relationship. And I feel like that is kind of we both kind of had that. It's very much destructive behavior. I think we both were kind of that way, but I was kind of teetering on that edge and then I was able to pull back. It's like you're not going to be completely me and I'm not going to be completely you. We are completely our own and we just happen to come together
Mm-hmm.
on this. Um so yeah, he kind of felt the music, like, and how I was feeling, a lot of things that I relate in as far as, emotion or things that I am going through. I
Yeah.
will definitely relate those to a song. In my head, I'm playing myself like I'm on the big screen. I'm a movie and all of my stuff that's, I am outside looking at myself like, this is the audience. The world is the audience. I'm sitting here. It's kind of like, looking outside of yourself. It's very a hard concept if that makes any sense, but in certain things and phases that go through my life, it's like I have a whole soundtrack for it. So, and that's kind of how I cope. He kind of caught that wave, and now I would say that would be the first time I was like really, really vibing. Like he kind of got that um synesthesia part of me. Certain music will light up certain parts of my brain. I can sit there and, you know, taste sound and hear colors. Yeah, music is a very powerful tool for me.
That's wild. Taste, sound, and hear colors.
Hmm.
Whew.
Yeah, it's weird, but that's what it was, and he caught that wave, and I think
Ah,
could
that tastes like
understand it.
blue.
Right. Um. So he he shared that love, and I got him hooked on that band. But you let him tell it. He couldn't even listen to synthwave anymore after stuff started getting rocky because it was like it hurt too much.
Mindset of
Um.
you.
Mhm. And I'm like, "Okay, I guess. Let it hurt then. Let it burn."
Okay,
Um,
Usher.
right. Um,
So through all of this, what did you learn from this situation, this particular story you just told?
Remain true to yourself and know who has been there for you and kinda held you down, and as you're going through that journey or this journey of not only self-love, but how to love other humans and make sure that you are growing in the process and becoming a better, more well-rounded human and definitely getting that emotional intelligence. um don't lose yourself in it because I feel like I was there. I romanticized what this relationship did because he was checking off all the buttons. Like it was like, I don't know if you've seen Obsession on Netflix yet. Very
Yeah.
good. You did?
Oh, no, maybe not on Netflix. I was thinking Obsessed, the one with Beyonce.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Or,
Yeah.
the one with Sana Latham and I forgot dude's name. I wanna say it's Jesse somebody, not but basically he comes in, beautiful guy, sweeps you off your feet, does everything
Mhm.
for you. You really
Yep.
don't know everything about him.
Yep.
And it's just a whirlwind romance, and then come to find out he is a psychopath. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty
Now, I'm
much the
not
same
saying he's a
exact
side like no,
situation.
I'm not saying he's an actual psychopath and stuff. Does he have mental issues? Yeah, absolutely he does. He's very much has mommy issues and he is codependent.
Yeah.
And
Mine had codependency, and listening to the things that they were saying, I'm like, they were projecting a lot. So I wonder if she actually had those mental issues. That's something that
mhm,
crossed my mind. But yeah, definitely. So for the listeners that are listening, what advice would you give them?
um, just know if you are beginning polyamory
Mm,
or you are fully in it, I think we tend to forget that we are dealing not only with the flesh, but we're dealing with the spirit. And the spirit's going to come first. You do not want to bring somebody into your drama, not saying that I had any, but you don't want to bring anybody into your personal circle without really getting to know them. And that could take anywhere from 6 months to a year. If you can last that long, great. And making sure that you are fully compatible, or not even fully compatible, because they don't have to check off every box, but enough to where if you want them to be around your family or
mm,
around any of your other loved ones without hurt, harm, incident, do that. I have a whole dom, been with him since 2020. And um now granted, it's a um long distance relationship, but he has talked to my husband. They have chilled. Like, we've had come to Jesus meetings where he's on the phone and I put him on speaker and like here's my life problems, y'all help me out.
mm,
And that's the kind of synergy you want. You want people that are going to be looking out for your best interests, at the same time are not afraid to call themselves on to the carpet. Like, that self accountability is a beautiful and it's a sexy thing. Like, when you can realize that I am the problem. I did something wrong,
mm,
but how do we correct that? Or how do I correct that? And can you help me with that? That actually led me to something else. He was like, "Well, maybe you need to." He was having issues with something. I think it was his grandmother reached back out to him and he didn't know how to handle, because let him tell it, his grandma was just uberly abusive. Upon further research, his grandmother was just like, "You ain't about to be a lazy nigga,"
mm,
and was trying to make him accountable for some stuff.
mm.
Um, and he just didn't want to be held accountable. He wanted to stay in that handicap place.
Why do they always do that? They always what instead of taking accountability, they try and make it. They always try and play victim.
And that's very much what it was. It's like, I didn't have, my grandmother never showed me love. She never did this. Like, I remember I gave him his first spiritual bath where I actually like bathed him. It was nothing sexual. I had literally
Hmm.
just bathed him. He was like, my grandma never did this and I've never been bathed. I was like, bullshit. I bullshit. Could this really have been true? It could have been your truth and everything, but
Hmm.
I think there's some other stuff that went
There,
on there.
there most likely was. There most likely was. I mean, that's
So,
one thing. They always put their best foot forward, but they make sure that they try and put their best foot forward by making it seem like they're always doing something right, and for some reason the outcome is never it never benefits them in any type of way. When in all honesty, when you really pay attention, you see that they're the ones causing all the issues, and other
right.
people might be trying to help, but now you see them as the enemy. So in your life, everybody else is the enemy, and you're the right person.
And it's like there is no amount of sage in the world that's going to
Oh
help it if you
yeah,
are the problem.
facts on
Like,
facts.
it's, and yeah, that truth all day, every day. So, yes, you need to be receptive of if you caused a hurt, harm, incident, problem, insecurity, be able to talk that out and let's work that out. And giving that other person that same benefit and respect as well. So, I mean, it really could that's I know that's a loaded kind of answer, but it goes back to that golden rule. You wanna do to others as you would want done to yourself. So, um, and then, of course, taking ego out of it. Very much taking ego out of it. 'Cause Imma say some shit that's gonna hurt your feelings, but if you sat on it and you really thought about what I said, the reason it's hurting you is because it's truth. And that goes for me too. Like, I deal with it at work all the time. It's like I gotta be able to take that criticism and how do I learn from it and get better? Or if I'm loud and wrong, call me out to the carpet on that. That's fine. No, well, Gava, you're wrong, and this is why. Okay, cool.
I agree.
Um,
You got anything else?
now that I just outed my actual name. So let me redo that one if you wanted to stitch together. So it's like, sin, you're wrong, and this is why. And it's like, okay, cool. I get it, and thank you for bringing this to my attention. I won't make that mistake again. And it's very simple to correct yourself. I don't know why in this kind of lifestyle that we live, people want to be more grandiose than they really are. We all are broken people.
Facts. We
So,
all are.
let's not pretend that we all don't have our own inner demons and everything. That's why people need people. At the same time, it's like, do you recognize your demons?
Mhm.
And are you doing the work to at least make it a little bit easier for those demons, or are you completely eradicating them?
I might have to pull you in on a spiritual episode that I'm doing. But I'm gonna go ahead and close it right on here. So this was an episode of Divine Time. We had Sin with us telling her story. If anything she said touched you, we hope it touched you in the right way. We hope that you learned something from the experiences that she has gone through, that she just in detail went through. If you have
Mhm.
anything that you want to say, you want to get it off your chest, or a story that you feel that others can listen to and it'll impact them or either encourage them to see the light or to remove themselves out of certain situations that could possibly save them without getting them in those situations, I'll have everything you need in order to contact me so we can get you on here. Because in all honesty, everybody has a voice, everybody has a story. If we all tell our stories, we can make so much change in the world. Because I mean, passing on that knowledge and wisdom of what you currently have can stop so many things from constantly happening.
Mm.
This is divine time. Relax your mind. It's divine time.